So how can companies get what they want through AI? So getting what you want through AI, it's important to understand the right kind of AI. AI, the way we say it is, not all AI is created equal. There are different methods and different solutions that AI can address. So if you look at a solution for AI that addresses payment issues, it's not going to be the same as one that addresses engagement with customers. Okay? Same thing with collections. If you look at an AI solution around collection, it's not going to be the same thing or necessarily conducive to use that for payment processing. Finding the right AI partner, and that gets to the make or buy decisions. So some organizations, especially depending on your size, can you afford to build that internally? Can you use a solution that your IT team, your technical team, your software team develops in-house, or should you find a partner? And a lot of organizations, even Bank of America, uses partners to help with their artificial intelligence solutions. Where to apply AI to get paid faster? So let's say everyone's all on board with AI. Well, where do you apply it? Do you apply it on the front end, the middle end, or the back end? Do you apply it across the board? And we can look at payment wins through AI, then we can talk about, well, what's next? So a couple of do's and don'ts in terms of understanding the right kind of AI that you might use. Let's start with the don'ts. And so don't fear AI. Even though, Hal will likely kill the crew on 2001: A Space Odyssey, and the Terminator will likely kill you and will be relentless and won't stop until you're dead, there's no reason to fear AI. But in all seriousness, some of the fear around AI comes in staff displacement. It comes in the form of people can't manually manage it, so they're afraid that it might make a mistake. Okay, so unless they're thoroughly involved in it, there's a lack of trust around AI. And I think that fear and that lack of trust will abate over time. We're not there yet, but I think it's coming. Leverage AI just for the sake of it. Just because XYZ company has AI down the street, it's not worth your company saying, well, we've got to have AI too. We're not sure why, but I think we've got to have it. It's got to be a better reason than just because. Incorporate AI that does not improve order to cash or payment processes. So the same thing as leveraging AI just for the sake of leveraging AI. There's got to be specific, applicable reasons why you would want to address or why you would want to include and implement AI to solve a particular issue or problem or challenge. Some of the things organizations should do: use artificial intelligence to solve pressing payment challenges, educate the team on AI-related issues, and if there's a champion inside an organization that understands AI, it's important to educate, at least in a cursory manner, other members of your team to make sure that they understand what AI can and can't do, and there's no fear around implementing it. Partnering with the right AI provider, which we talked about before, making or buying, and consider impact on staff if applicable. I know some organizations struggle with this now. Same thing with any other kind of technology, same thing with any other kind of automation. When you've implemented technology, sometimes staff is displaced. And that's an inevitability, unfortunately, for all of us. Sometimes staff are reassigned, sometimes staff are reduced. And be honest about the current processes and weaknesses. We talk to organizations all the time, and they say, yeah, our order-to-cash system from front to end is completely buttoned up. And when we do a little digging, we find out that it's really not. It's just they see it that way. So it's important to be very honest about your weaknesses and shortcomings. A couple of considerations for supplier and customers. For suppliers, identifying partners, integrating internal with external solutions, and customers that are incorporating AI. Is there anything that suppliers can learn from them? And vice versa. Is there anything that customers can learn from suppliers incorporating AI? For customers, get management buy-in. Of course, that's applicable to both sides. Speeding approvals and payments, which a lot of customer organizations use it to speed the invoice, receipt, processing, and payment part of their accounts payable processes. And then full-time and staff efficiencies, that's sort of a no-brainer. So finding the right AI partner, not all providers are created equal, as we talked about, understanding who provides what. So let's say you narrow your focus down on a solution provider. They're not all the same. And so depending on what your specific needs are, what your challenges are, and what you're trying to overcome, it's really important to understand who provides what. And it's certainly important to understand and ask the right questions around what they offer and what they don't offer. And sometimes we don't know what we don't know. So if we don't ask that question, if we don't ask those questions, sometimes solution providers don't tell us. Analyzing productivity and cost savings. So if you can analyze it, if you can measure it, it's worth pursuing that. If you can't analyze it and measure it, it's not worth moving forward until you can find a way to measure it and analyze whether it's providing productivity. And can AI refine payment speed be improved or measured, as I mentioned? And then savings must be more about the long term than the short term. Of course, there's usually a cost to implement anything where there's change involved and there's new technology. But the important thing is, does it pay for itself in the long run? Does it make your company overall more efficient? And some organizations are taken aback by, my goodness, that's a lot of money to pay up front. But if it makes sense in the long term, because everyone will be doing it eventually, then it likely will make sense from that perspective. Where to apply AI to get paid faster? From a broad sense, replacing manual processes, which is incredibly important. So all those things that are repetitive tasks can be replaced by AI, and really just not even AI, but RPA, just robotics. If it's a task that can be done over and over again without a lot of thinking, then RPA is a good solution for that. ERP, invoicing customer engagement, etc. Those are generally good areas. Are current systems configured to benefit from AI-related improvements? Does your system, whether it's something that you've built internally or something that you've purchased off the shelf but have installed, is it capable of incorporating or marrying to today's AI technology? If it's not, it's worth looking at how you can improve your system in order to marry to today's technology. And then will the result be faster, streamlined payment? If it's not worth doing. And so, getting into some of the specifics, AI can specifically help with invoice submission, matching the invoice to the PO, also making sure that your organization's business rules are aligned to the customer's business rules. A lot of times that's done very manually, okay? But with AI, you can look at a lot of data and gather a lot of data very quickly and analyze it and come to conclusions where you can actually map and make sure that there's an alignment fairly quickly. Dispute resolution. Again, it's all about gathering data very quickly and analyzing that data that you currently have instead of manually looking through information in terms of there's a dispute here that doesn't match with this number here. Rather than that taking a week, if you've got a stack of papers in front of you, it could take minutes, literally. Match payment with invoices for straight-through processing. So on the customer side, invoice comes in and they want to pay that invoice, making sure that that maps with the PO and with what they're about to pay to the supplier. On the supplier side, better OCR, character recognition. There's a lot of technology around cash application, and even if you receive checks, which we all know is really a bad thing, but if you receive checks, using artificial intelligence to scan that information and to leverage technology around cash application to make sure that that information and that data and that money is deposited directly into your account and automatically applied to your customer's account. Help with missing and incomplete remittance data. We talked about receiving ACH payment, and so that remittance data sometimes sits elsewhere. Instead of looking for it manually and reconciling things manually, artificial intelligence can do it instantaneously. And the more it does it, the better it gets, because it is a machine learning mechanism where if there are issues, if there are discrepancies, it'll stop, it'll look at other areas and other areas where you've got data, and it'll try to solve the problem. The only time where manual intervention is necessary is if there's a problem and your solution, your AI solution, can't determine it, then you manually have to go in and fix it. But the good thing is once you manually go in and fix it, AI has learned how to do that because of what you've done. So you don't have to do that yourself manually the next time. Facilitate the best way for customers to pay. Customers pay a number of different ways. And as we saw, some customers pay by check, ACH, credit card, etc. When you engage a customer, and when suppliers engage customers, it's worth looking at, well, this customer prefers to pay this way and they've paid this way X number of times. This customer has paid this way X number of times. And making it easy for that customer to pay based on their history, not doing that and not coming to that conclusion manually. That AI can, based on their history, determine which way is easier for the customer to pay, and that speeds payment solutions, and that speeds the payment process, which eventually will reduce DSO. And then better customer communications and chatbots, not necessarily at this point for large strategic relationships where there are individuals that are engaged, but a lot of other customers who have a lot of suppliers and suppliers who have a lot of customers, sometimes communicating through chatbots, whether it's a customer service issue or some other easily answered question, using an AI solution to do that, whether it's through a supplier-created portal where a customer has a question or otherwise, AI can be used to address some of those issues very quickly. And so payment wins through AI. I think I've only got a couple of minutes left, so I'm going to speed through these. You got to be able to measure DSO reduction. You've also got to have an improvement in cash flow and working capital. It should positively impact staff in terms of productivity. There should be overall long-term cost savings, and you should be able to attract new customers because the more efficient suppliers are and the easier it is to pay them, the more customers want to do business with those suppliers. And so what's next? Tying operation improvements to AI implementation. Continue to look for improvements, and understanding AI implementation may challenge your comfort zone. So we talked about how everybody loves change, right? But no, nobody likes change. But most people will be challenged, and we will be challenged to move out of our comfort zones when we start to look at AI. And it's not just AI, it's blockchain, it's virtual reality, it's all these new technologies that are coming down the pipe. And so it's important to stay abreast of improvements in technology because it's always changing. If you implement something today, 6 months from now, there may be something slightly different. 12 months from now, there may be something slightly different from that. So it's always important to continue to look at improvements and incorporate improvements where you can. If you use a partner, sometimes it's very seamless. They will simply include those improvements in what you've purchased from them. And then current technology is only the beginning, just the tip of the iceberg. So the conclusion, organizations can leverage AI directly through partnerships to refine and speed the entire order-to-cash process, resulting in faster and more efficient payment. But in order to do that, it's critically important to know why you're implementing AI, to know where to implement it, and to know how to apply it.